We have news coming out of this January 6th committee as it really previews what's going to happen at the last scheduled hearing that we know of, which is in prime time next Thursday, this coming week. It will focus on something that we know about, but like so much else with this committee, it may give us more detail and evidence that a sitting president stood by and did nothing, fell down on the job, failed, some call it a dereliction of duty, while a major national security target was stormed with his own vice president inside. It's going to go into who he spoke to in those hours, what they're calling those 187 minutes from when the Capitol was first breached until he finally, belatedly, after all the damage had pretty much been done, after the law enforcement had finally gotten back in control, then he told rioters and insurrectionists to leave.
Next week, we will return to January 6th itself. For multiple hours, Donald Trump refused to intervene to stop it. He would not instruct the mob to leave or condemn the violence. He would not order them to evacuate the Capitol and disperse. The many pleas for help from Congress did no good. His staff insisted that President Trump call off the attack. He would not.
She said that at the last hearing, that reference to staff trying to get him to act. We have brand new video that I'm going to show you in this first segment of The Beat tonight about a new witness calling him out on exactly that, which will lean into what we're going to learn at the hearing. So we're going to get to that. But I also want to update you on the other big news tonight, the mystery here about the Secret Service and why a law enforcement agency that is known for its rigor and its care, it has a very important set of jobs and its protectees, has suddenly been caught deleting text messages from when? Oh, the 5th and the 6th of January 21. So a watchdog's now involved. The DHS Inspector General says it determined the texts were deleted after, and this is important, after the watchdog requested copies of those very text messages. The Secret Service has an answer. They say this was all part of a routine IT procedure. DHS officials have been discussing this. They were briefing about this with the January 6th committee behind closed doors.
We are investigating this issue. That is, did text messages disappear? If they did, why did they disappear? Was this some kind of a technical mistake, or was this deliberate? And we are seeing conflicting information from the agencies about what took place.
Now, this is one of those things that does sound fishy and suspicious, but that's not enough. Not in journalism, certainly not in investigations. And so you may remember on the day of the 6th, people were talking about, well, the police must have let them in to the Capitol if they got in this easily. That was something that was wrongly assumed and stated and started to go viral. This is another one of those kinds of stories. It is suspicious what the Secret Service is up to. They are going to get investigated, but whether or not this was deliberate or intentional has not been determined. Now, as for the other star witness, Cassidy Hutchinson, well, she's finding her accounts backed up. A Washington police officer who was in the motorcade corroborates Hutchinson's account of what Trump was doing.
The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel, and when Mr. Renato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
That was the physical clash that went off like a bombshell when it was put under oath and in front of the nation. You may recall that it immediately yielded rigorous, angry denials from the former president. We reported on that, and from other people who started attacking her for this quote-unquote hearsay thing. And there were reports that some unnamed people in the Secret Service said they wanted to disagree with her, and they're welcome to go participate and put their names on record under oath the way she did. But the point here tonight, before I bring in our experts, is paramount. Think about what that testimony means. After the president was told the people were armed, and after he got to execute what has now been proven, his plan to trick law enforcement and the police into not knowing that there was a march plan that he announced and wanted to be, quote unquote, look spontaneous so they would be caught unawares. After he did that level of planning to try to help violent armed protesters. And after they began to march on and breach the Capitol, around that time, he was still physically trying to get there, to the degree that he had this reported clash. It matters not because of the sort of salience or the sort of gossipy nature of him fighting with his own agents, although that's quite a scene if it were a movie. No, it matters because it is criminally relevant evidence of his state of mind and intention when the people he knew were armed were trying to make their way to perpetuate a criminal insurrection. He still, at that point, according to this testimony, wanted to join them himself.